Hey, welcome to episode number 44 of The Langille Show. My name is Brian Langille, and as promised, tonight's episode will deal with a very important subject, and that is teenage drinking. Yes, I'm 33 now, but there was a time when I wasn't. There was a time when I was 19, and there's a time where I first had my first drink of alcohol. And when I say first drink, I mean maybe 2 bottles of beer, but that's not the point. The point is that the first time I had something to drink, I was 19. And we're going to take a little trip down memory lane here, and we're going to explain why people shouldn't drink, at least when you're younger, because people do stupid things, including me. So, some of you may have heard this story before. If you haven't, stay tuned, because we're going to cover something that most people find somewhat entertaining. I find personally irresponsible, but at the same time has a humorous spin. You remember a few episodes ago I made comments about whatever you do, make sure you have a sober driver. And I also made comments about whatever you do, make sure you don't throw anything out of any moving vehicles. Back when I was 19, I had a bit of a rough summer. I was diagnosed with a disease that I didn't actually have, and I went from this to this in a span of 6 weeks. Steroids are a horrible drug. So that Christmas I went out with a friend and, hung out with his family and stuff, and everything was cool, and I had my first ever beer. It was a bottle of Alexander Keith's. I remember it well. And, I sat there in a back bedroom drinking beer. And while I was sitting in the room, I saw a Colonel Sanders piggy bank. And after my first beer, I thought it was absolutely hilarious that Colonel Sanders' first name is Harland, to the point where I'm just pissing myself laughing at this. And my friend realized, okay, we got to get Brian some air, and we got to get him outside, because this isn't going well. So they get me outside, and everything's cool, and we figured we are going to go for a drive. So we did. Now, our driver was sober, so don't think that we did anything that irresponsible yet. So we're driving around, everything's cool, we're laughing, we're talking, yada yada yada, and out of the corner of my eye I see this thing. And I'm like, stop the truck, stop the truck, stop the truck, I gotta get out. So they thought I was gonna be sick or something, but no. I got out of the truck, I ran over onto this guy's lawn, picked up his Christmas tree, lights still attached, ran back, threw it in the back of the truck, and said, go, 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 go. Yeah, I kind of hijacked a Christmas tree. But that's not the fucked up part. Anyway, so then we're driving around with this Christmas tree, and I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do with this? I can't take it back, because obviously they're going to be looking for me, so I can't really, just come back. I'm going, here's your tree. So I'm trying to think, where can I ditch this tree? And we're driving around, everything's fine, and we come up to this bridge, and I'm like, stop the truck, stop the truck, stop the truck. So I get out of the truck, I grab the Christmas tree, on the count of 3, 1, 2, I toss the tree down onto the road that the bridge is covering. Not that smart of an idea. We're all kind of laughing, everything's cool, yada yada yada. Laughing because it's cool when you're 19. Now it's not so much. But the point was, that night I was rather intoxicated, thought this was hilarious. So anyway, what I didn't find hilarious was the cop car on the other side of the bridge. Yeah, that wasn't cool. So I'm standing there, and the lights come on. I'm like, oh, fuck. So the car comes up, the officer comes out, and he says, it's after midnight. Shouldn't you boys be on your way home? And my friend, who I'm obviously not mentioning names here, says, no, sorry, officer, my friend here is sick. We just stopped for a second. He's like, oh, you're sick. Okay, so were you drinking? And I said, I had a couple. Now, for some reason, he didn't ask me for ID, which obviously is good. But, he goes, well, then maybe you guys should be on your way. So we're like, okay, sure, officer, no problem. So we slowly get back in the truck. Now, I'm not sick, but I'm faking it because of the fact that if he looks over, he's going to see a Christmas tree in the middle of the highway. So, we get back in the truck and we slowly drive off, and we're like, please don't look over the bridge. Please don't look over the bridge. And then he looks over the bridge. He just takes a flashlight, he puts it down, and takes off back to his car, and I'm like, oh, fuck. So we're driving around town, going in through every back road possible to try to avoid this. We went in through the parking lot of the local grocery store, and as we're parked there's two cop cars go flying by like this, passing each other, and we're like, gee, I wonder who they're looking for. So we slowly made our way around town, and it took us about 45-50 minutes to get back to where we came from, and slowly park the truck in the garage, close the door, whole 9 yards. It was a 10-minute drive from where we were to where the tree incident happened, so you can know how slow and how many back streets we took. But so we made the paper, not by name obviously, but the next week the weekly paper had a headline of, holiday hooligans throw tree over bridge. Not something I'm overly proud of. In fact, I'm only telling this story because it has a point, and that point is the fact that, yeah, a couple weeks ago the guy threw the beer bottle out of the van, and that was pretty irresponsible, and he's gonna learn from that. I learned from the same thing when I threw a Christmas tree out of a truck off a bridge onto a highway. Well, it wasn't really a highway, it was a back road, but the point was that, I threw a tree onto a back road, and I also took someone's Christmas tree. Now, before everyone freaks out, it wasn't their quote-unquote Christmas tree. You know how people put lights on their tree in their front yard? Well, yeah, it was one of those, but it wasn't really attached to anything. It was just kind of there. Anyway, that's it. So I'm going to wrap this one up. My name is Brian Langille. This has been episode number 44 of The Langille Show. You can check it out at youtube.com and thelangilleshow.com. You can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Langille and twitter.com/The Langille Show. If you happen to be a person who was missing their Christmas tree about 15 years ago, yeah, sorry. So yeah, the bottom line is don't do stupid things when you're drunk. You'll live to regret them. I do. And take care. Always have a sober driver. And again, don't throw anything from any vehicles, kids. Take care.